It's a football Saturday in the SEC. Here is the starting lineup. The man with the golden voice, sports savant, Kip Keefer. One of Birmingham's all-time most multi-talented, iconic broadcasters, Tony Curry. Four-time champion Paul Feinbaum show caller contributor, the legend. The illustrious First Lady of SEC football, Terry Quillian. Award-winning national sports handicapper from Las Vegas, Case Keefer. And now, let's talk football.
Hey, welcome back to the starting lineup along with Kip Keefer. I'm Tony Curry. Who would have thunk it? Into Week 8, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia playing for their playoff lives. Each of those teams lost a game in Auburn, playing for its bowl life. They got to win 4 of their next 6 games to even make the postseason, my friend. It's been a crazy year, man.
Oh, we're going to talk about that. It is going to be insane again today. I'm going to bring in the legend, as a matter of fact, and we're going to talk about that very subject here in just a minute.
Okay, let's get it on. It's going to be a fantastic weekend. Of course, we have Miami and Louisville coming up here at the top of the hour, 11 o'clock. And, of course, some big ball games today. 1-16 Tennessee is against Alabama the last 17 games. That game will be a little later on this afternoon. And, of course, we have that huge game, Georgia-Texas. Georgia, an underdog for the first time this year. We'll find out if they can beat another team that's not called Alabama.
You talk about a couple major games, and it's amazing. We brought the legend in. We got him out of the cave. I didn't even have to shout. I thought he'd take a while to get here.
The Golden Boys.
That's right, Golden Boys on the job. I want to ask you guys this question to kick off the show. Is what we're seeing week to week just upheaval and chaos, or fellas, are we seeing the new normal?
Legend, take it away, man.
Well, I tell you, with the 12-team playoff and not 12 teams worthy of a playoff spot, we are headed towards chaos, Kip. They telling me that a 3-loss team might get in. I'm saying a 4-loss team might get in. Is there 12 teams worthy out there?
It ain't going to be 4 losses. It will not be 4. 3 probably, maybe. There's an outside shot. But I think everyone loved the idea because when you're that 6th, 7th, or 8th team, when you had a 4-team playoff, everyone's like, boo-hoo, they should be in. Now you're mudding the waters. There's not much difference between the 6th-ranked team and the 12th-ranked team. Yeah. So how in the world are they going to figure out? Now they're going to have the argument about the 13th-ranked team getting in. I think it's going to be fantastic because I think when you have chaos, you have a lot of things to talk about, and that's great for our show.
Well, being the ultimate SEC homer, guilty, I look at our league and see teams beating each other, cannibalizing each other. There's no such thing as an easy game in the SEC now. Every one of them is just a grim struggle. But I worry that the SEC, with so many premier teams beating each other up, I think they're going to be discounted. And then my son, Case, who we'll hear from a little bit later, says, well, what do you want, an all-SEC playoff?
Yes.
And I said, yes, if it's all the best teams. But, Legend, I don't think it's going to go that way.
Well, you make a great point, Kipper. You know, in the SEC, Mississippi State can beat you.
Oh, no
Kentucky
kidding.
can beat you. South Carolina can beat you. Ohio State, Penn State, they're not facing that in the lower levels of the Big Ten. So the SEC is a dangerous league, and we just destroying each other, T.
You want it like SEC baseball, don't you? You just want every doggone team to have,
a
super
Put them
regional.
all in.
I will tell you this, though. Out of the 12 teams, I expect there to be at least 4 teams in the SEC, and you're talking a third of the whole rank. So I think that'd probably be a good thing.
Yeah, I take 4.
Yeah, 4 teams would be good out of the total 12, and we'll win another national title.
Yeah, because if Georgia loses to Texas today and their losses are to 2 teams that were number 1 when they played them, and they don't make the playoff, that's just not right.
Yeah.
If they run the rest of their games. So it's really something that we have to watch and see how it develops. But, Legend, you made a good point a minute ago. I looked at today's games, and we'll have the marquee matchups in just a moment. I'm all in the SEC. I looked at the Big Ten schedule. It is pathetic. There's not a good game on the Big Ten slate all day. Some people say, well, what about Michigan, Illinois? They're both mediocre. They're not great teams. They would be in 7th or 8th, 9th place in the SEC.
Yeah, exactly, Kipper. You have to evaluate committee how strong the SEC is compared to these other teams when taking into consideration how many teams deserve in.
All right, let's give us the marquee games, man. We got some huge games today.
Well, like I say, I'm all in the SEC, and I'm not apologizing for it because the 2 jewels today of course, are Georgia at Texas. The Bulldogs have only lost 3 games in the last 4 years, and going in as an underdog, and that line keeps going up. I saw it's crept up to about 5 today after Georgia in the offseason was a 1-point favorite. It's the Longhorns, it's the Bulldogs. Georgia still has not played a complete game since the Clemson game in the opener. I don't know what the problems are there, but they better get it fixed quick against this Texas team. But I really think Georgia's kind of in a last stand position, so I'm looking forward to that one. The second game on my marquee matchups this week, clearly, the third Saturday in October, you know what that means. I know Legend's got his cigar in his pocket there. Bama, Tennessee. Tennessee 2 weeks ago, everybody was saying, they're unstoppable. Their defense is great. Their offense is dynamic. They're they're the team. Well, what's happened to the team the last 2 weeks? They go to Arkansas and get clobbered, and then they come home in Florida, almost comes within an eyelash of beating them. So that's 2 unbelievable games. And I've also got a couple teams that are still in the hunt in the SEC as the rest of the slate. One of those, LSU, won a man's game last week. I give Brian Kelly and the Tigers credit for beating Ole Miss. They just out-willed them and out-physicaled them at the end. Now they go on the road right off of that war that went to overtime and play Arkansas, who's been resting up, waiting for them. Arkansas's already been a giant killer this year. That's going to be a very intriguing game. And the other, the Auburn Tigers and Hugh Freeze, who's been working on his list of excuses for the last 2 weeks, they go to Missouri and play a team that's still in the hunt. Missouri's only a 1-loss team, although they seem like they're more beat up than that. But this is an interesting game, too. And if Missouri has any intention of staying in the hunt, they better come through today against the other Tigers.
It's going to be a fantastic lineup. The last time Texas and Georgia played a regular season game, Fran Tarkenton was a quarterback.
Wow.
So that's been 1958. It's been a long time. It's been unbelievable. And of course, Texas, #1 defense in scoring and, of course, overall. And now we're going to see that Georgia Bulldog offense can get it on there. It is going to be a rout today. It's going to be unbelievable. I cannot believe Georgia's catching 5.5, though. Again, the only team they've lost to. Their senior class is 47-3. There's 3 losses. Alabama.
Alabama, baby.
The other game, and of course, you talk about Alabama and Tennessee. I cannot believe that Tennessee is 1-16 the last 17 games.
1-16.
But
Wow.
the last 2 years, you know what the halftime score was?
What's that, T?
It was 3-zip. The last
That's
2 years,
incredible.
3-0, both games. So it's going to be a lot of fun. The last 8 times Alabama Tennessee's played, they've averaged 67 points a ball game. That'll be one of my plays a little later on today.
Awesome.
Over the 56. So there's going to be some points scored. Tennessee may get a little fat off a defense that's given up over 22 points a game. And Jalen Milroe, 3 interceptions the last 2 weeks. He needs to clean it up for sure.
Ledge, what gets your attention?
You know, I can't get past Alabama, Tennessee. I don't even care about another game, Kipper, until Alabama wins this game. Then I can think about Georgia and Texas. But until this one's over, there's no other matchup for me, Kipper.
Wow, what a game that's going to be between Tennessee and Alabama. And just for the record, I am definitely pulling for Alabama in that one. There's another big marquee matchup happening on Saturday, and that is Saturday night when the Georgia Bulldogs will take on the Texas Longhorns in Austin, Texas at Darrell K. Royal Stadium. Now, if you just listen to kind of the scuttlebutt out there this week in college football, you would think that the Longhorns were a 35-point favorite to blow out the Bulldogs in this game. My gosh, I heard Paul Feinbaum talking about how it's just hard to watch Georgia this year. Really, Paul? It's hard to watch Georgia this year? They're a 5-1 team. They beat number 10 Clemson 34-3, and Clemson's had a great season ever since then. Their only loss coming at Alabama, where they had a big-time comeback in the second half. So I'm not sure hard to watch is really appropriate. Odds makers have thought this game is going to be a lot closer. Originally, Georgia was a 1-point favorite. It's moved to Texas being about a 3-point favorite. That'd be normal for what you would give somebody when the teams are pick 'em and you're playing in their home stadium. I think it's going to be a wild night full of fireworks. Georgia's Achilles heel this year has been The defense. How weird is that? And specifically the secondary, which is supposedly Kirby Smart's forte. One thing that's changed this year, Will Muschamp is not on the sidelines as co-defensive coordinator for Georgia. He's merely serving as a defensive analyst because he wanted some time off to be able to watch his son playing football at Vanderbilt. Glenn Schumann, the defensive coordinator at Georgia, is going to really have to step up his game if the Bulldogs are going to stop Quinn Ewers and the Texas Longhorns. By everyone's prediction, it's going to be a high-scoring, wild, really fun to watch game, and you can catch it right here on ABC 3340 at 6:30 tonight. And now, out to you, Case.
Georgia-Texas is the most interesting game of the week to me, and not only because it is obviously one of the biggest regular season games of the year, a clash of the Titans, but also because it is the latest trial in what is a recurring theme if you're betting on college football seriously. It's, do you go with your preseason priors and what you thought of a team coming in, or do you react to now a half season's worth of data points, worth of seeing these teams? Look, you go back a month or even 2 months or all offseason, I would have been tripping over myself to get to the betting window to take 3.5 points with Georgia. But it would feel foolish not to look at what's happened over the last 6 weeks, and I don't care if you're a numbers analytics guy like me or the eye test, there is no case you can make that Georgia has been more impressive than Texas. Which one do you go with? There's no one-size-fits-all. There's not ever any right answer. You're going to probably kick yourself if you go the other way at the end of this game either way. I'm ever so slightly saying at this point of the season we got to go with what we've seen, and I would give Texas the edge here.
Step back into the groove and then into the Birmingham Racecourse Casino.
Check this out. It's all happening here.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino is the local place to win.
Good times right here.
Let the Birmingham Racecourse Casino bring the good times to you. The Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where the good times roll.
Where you could be a winner too. Yeah, boy.
Oh, welcome to the Legend Cave, where few men have ever stepped. Ronnie Van Zant, Tupac, Elvis, and the two great men standing beside me, the great Kip Keefer, ladies and gentlemen. He's a bachelor, ladies, and he got money rolling out his pocket. Do you hear what I'm saying? And the great Tony Curry, you know who he is. Welcome to the Legend Cave, gentlemen. Welcome to the Legend Cave.
Oh.
How y'all gentlemen doing?
Wait, my phone's blowing up.
Uh-oh.
It smells just like I thought it would.
Bad, right? Bad. We had Spy for Rent in here last week, T. All the bugs are gone. We feeling safe this week. We got Tennessee. We up in Knoxville today. Last time we was up there, they put the goalposts in the river. I don't want to see another goalpost in the river. How about you, T?
I haven't eaten a Calhoun since. I ain't going to do it. 1-16 the last 17 games. They got to get off and get it back on that win streak, baby.
I like it. I like it. Kipper! Tell Kevin DeBoer what he's got to do, because if I start talking to him, I might snap on him, Kipper. So you tell him what he needs to do today, Kipper.
Kalen DeBoer, you have one important assignment as far as I'm concerned. Stop them on offense so I don't have to hear Rocky Top 400 freaking times.
No, we can't do it, Kevin DeBoer. We hear Rocky Top all over today. I might snap on you. I'm keeping my cool. And Tony, I want to thank you for sending me that psychiatrist over in Mexico. I appreciate that, brother. I came back down after the Vandy game. I thought I was in trouble, boy.
Your medication's ready.
Yeah, thank you, brother.
Thank you.
All right, there he goes. T's going down the Legend Cave. He's gone. Kipper, don't you run off on me now. Don't you run off on me.
I'll hang.
Hey, right here. Now, Kipper, what do you think today? What do you see as the score of this game?
I can't help but think that there's going to be some points scored because Alabama's offense is too potent. The myth that Tennessee's defense is awesome is destroyed pretty much. They've played better than everybody expected, but they're not an elite defense. I think the key to the game is the Alabama defense. They've got to be able to get off the field, not give up these long time-consuming drives. That's what disturbs me as watching Alabama football so far this year. They got to keep that offense on the field. And it's funny to say it, Ledge, but the offense needs to possess the ball a little more too, because you score so quickly, the defense is out there all the time.
You know, I was thinking the same thing last week watching this game. I've been blaming Kane Womack. I've been comparing you to Pete Golden. I've been thinking that you need an intervention or something. You and a Legend with a personal talk. But then I got to thinking, why is Nick Sheridan just abandoning the running game? We're like a fast break team that shoots in 3 seconds, and we got to get back on defense. Was Jam Miller and Justice Haynes? I mean, are they inactive over here?
Window dressing. I don't know. It's very strange that It's great to have weapons and score quickly, but you've got to possess the ball some. The time of possession in the Vanderbilt game was absolutely absurd, and Alabama still put up a ton of points. So, I don't think you want to slow your offense down. If you got a thoroughbred, let him go, but you still have to manage the time a little better.
Man, what a day in the Legend Cave. The great Tony Curry in here, the great Kip Keeper. We about to get out of here, but I got one thing to say to you. Coach, the bar! Don't mess this up, brother. I got a U-Haul on the line now. Don't mess this up. I'm telling you, don't mess this up. We won in 16. We don't lose to Tennessee very often. Don't mess this up. Pull for your team today. And remember, in the Legend Cave, it's just a game. Don't be like the Kipper in the Legend. Sports insane.
This week in the Coach's Corner, we have Clark Lee from Vanderbilt. And who would have ever thought I'd be doing a Coach's Corner saying good things about the coach from Vanderbilt? It's understandable that this would be unusual. Vanderbilt has only had a winning record in the SEC twice in the last 50 years. So that's the uphill situation that Clark Lee walked into. In fact, Coach Lee said that one of the biggest obstacles he faced was the idea that Vanderbilt was just the loser in the SEC. He said, if only I could erase memories. I really think that the memories of Vanderbilt as a losing team is a big thing that's been holding us back. Well, they were still losing at the end of last year when they went on a 10-game losing streak. At that point, Coach Lee knew he had to really shake things up. A little bit earlier in the season, he had watched with a lot of interest when New Mexico State was able to defeat Auburn. He was so interested, he watched that game 9 times to try to figure out how he did it. So at the conclusion of the season, he got on a plane, flew out to Mexico State to meet with that coaching staff and figure out exactly what it was that was going on. At the end of that meeting, he decided to hire a bunch of the coaches. He hired Tim Beck, who was the offensive coordinator. He hired the quarterback's coach. He hired the receivers coach, and he hired the safeties coach. The only one left for him to hire was Jerry Hill, the head coach, and he did that too. Now he's looking for a quarterback, and guess what? When Diego Pavia learned that Coach Beck was leaving, he immediately went in the transfer portal. And he was out at Nevada, planning to sign with them and play with Nevada. Well, Jerry Hill called Diego and he said, guess what? I'm going to Vanderbilt and you are too. I've already told them you're coming, so you are. And he did. And what a huge difference this has made for the Vanderbilt team. After upsetting Alabama, they went on, talk about the Rodney Dangerfield team that gets no respect. They beat Alabama. They were still picked to lose to Kentucky, and guess what? They beat Kentucky. So Vanderbilt, you're on a roll, and my hat is off to you, Coach Clark Lee.
Whenever you tune in to the starting lineup, sometimes you'll see a multitude of people here. Sometimes you'll see a crocodile sitting on Kip's lap.
Every once in a while.
We couldn't do it without our great sponsors, the Woodhouse Day Spa, birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Stuart Rome's fantastic. Love that guy. Teresa Autry, one of our brand new sponsors with expertrealty.com. Expertrealty.com. Teresa Autry, she is wonderful. She's on the show. And, of course, Spy for Rent. They were on the show last week. As a matter of fact,
he's in the Legend
Corey
Cave.
was in the Legend Cave planting seeds, planting GPS.
I wonder if he found his way out of there.
Yeah, he might have something on the back of his car before it's all over. And, of course, Kai Gregory, who's joined the show many times, Southern Precision Staffing, SPS, 205-682-2828, where your word, your handshake still means something. They're right here in Hoover, Alabama, but they serve the United States of America. Thanks to all of our great sponsors.
If speaking of great things, we have 2 radio shows on the weekend. One of them right before our starting lineup on Saturday mornings from 8 to 10. Kip and Terry Game Time. We will get you all set for everything happening in SEC football and around the country. It's outstanding. We've got experts. We've got people on the ground at the stadiums. We give you everything you need to get the ultimate enjoyment out of your football Saturday. And then on Sunday morning from 9 to 11, right back on Jocks 94.5, it is the 8th season of the morning after everything that happened on the field. We talk about it on Sunday morning. It's outstanding. It's your chance to weigh in. You don't have to wait till Feinbaum on Monday afternoon. You can jump in Sunday morning and give your opinion, talk about the games or whatever else is on your mind. 2 great shows, Jocks 94.5, Kip and Terry Game Time on Saturday, the morning after on Sunday. And if you ever miss any programs, go to our website, kqshows.com, and at your fingertips are links to every single program we do.
Hey, it's Case Kiefer back again for another week of my Vegas Heaters segment from Las Vegas. I'm the assistant sports editor for Greenspun Media, which includes the Las Vegas Sun, longtime sports betting writer and sports bettor, coming to you a little bit of a downer here ahead of college football week 8. For the first time since week 1, we had a losing record on the show last week. Pretty disappointed we got a bounce back. We went 1-2 on the college football picks here in the Vegas Heater. 1-3 if you throw in the NFL bonus. Throw in everything I did all throughout the show, even with the 2-1 on the best bets and upset segment. I still went 3-4, but hey, it's okay. We're still in the black easily for the season on the starting lineup. 16-10 in the Vegas Heaters, 31-19 across all the segments. This is a tough week again. There's not a whole lot jumping out to me. I did make a lot of bets, but nothing that really is like, okay, this is one I have to include. We're going to go back to an old theme. I'm going to go with an early game, a midday game, and a late game, and they all have some quarterback factor into the handicap. I think that's always the case, but especially here. Let's start in Big Ten land where Northwestern is hosting Wisconsin, which, if you just look at the history of these two teams, should be a low-scoring game. And what is important in a low-scoring game? Points. Northwestern as high as a 7.5-point favorite. Give me that with the Wildcats. I'm actually not so sure this is going to be a low-scoring game because you look at what these offenses have done all of a sudden. They're great. I mean, Alabama's blowout of Wisconsin is looking better by the day because Braden Locke has been a revelation. He's been what Tyler Van Dyke and Tanner Mordecai before him probably thought they could be, and really taking the horns of this air raid system. They have been on a roll, but quietly Northwestern has been as well ever since the sophomore sensation Jack Lausch took over at quarterback. Did you see what they did to Maryland last Friday night? Just absolutely pounded them as 10-point underdogs. I think it's a little bit too much to make them 7.5-point underdogs here. Wisconsin probably keeps rolling, gets the outright win, but laying more than a 7 in that venue off Lake Michigan could get windy. Give me Northwestern plus 7.5. Next, we are going over to Atlanta, where Notre Dame is coming in to take on Georgia Tech. And you might have better information now when you're watching, but at the time of recording, I got to tell you, if I am guessing right now, I don't think Haynes King is playing in this game. Georgia Tech's do everything quarterback gets banged up last week. It seems pretty serious. They're saying day-to-day. They're not giving many details. To me, that's all, having some sirens up. And Notre Dame, they're on an absolute roll. I think you look back at the end of the year, if they keep playing like they're playing now, we're going to say, how did they ever lose to Northern Illinois? Riley Leonard has settled down. He's really started to look the part. If they don't have Haynes King, this should probably close 14.5. If it's still within range, anything below 14, even if King is playing, I think Notre Dame, he's not going to be at 100%. I think Notre Dame probably wins by 2 touchdowns. So anything less than 14, give me Notre Dame minus 12, the best price right now for the second bet. And we're going to go straight to SEC country for the final play. Arkansas hosting LSU. Now, I got to tell you, unlike Haynes King, if you made me guess right now at the time of recording, does Taylon Green play? I would say yes. I think he does gut through an injury and end up playing against LSU. But similar concern to King, how healthy is he going to be? I feel like to beat LSU, to go toe-to-toe with Garrett Nussmeier and that high-powered offense, they're going to need him to be at his best. He's erratic even when he's healthy. I don't think there's any way he's 100% in this game. Only having to lay 3 with LSU seems a little cheap to me. I know it's on the road, coming off a big win. There's some situational stuff that would make you like Arkansas, but I am going to go with LSU minus 3 to go with Notre Dame minus 12 and Northwestern plus 7.5. Those are your Vegas Heaters for the week.
Well, it's time to give my best bets and upset for the week, and I'm going to start with the best bets and maybe a couple of obscure games that you really wouldn't expect, but that's how I roll. I don't think Notre Dame's very good. And Notre Dame's going to Atlanta to play Georgia Tech. The line keeps swelling. I think it's up to 12 or 13 now. Georgia Tech has not embarrassed themselves all year. They've had a couple of quality wins. I think this is going to be a war. I don't think Notre Dame deserves the lofty ranking they have. Give me the points. I'm telling you, Tony, right now in college football, especially in the SEC, how rich would you be if you just took points every week? I think only one favored covered all last week. So anyway, Georgia Tech over Notre Dame is my first pick. My second pick, I really kind of struggled to come up with who I wanted to go with here, but I'm going to take in my second game the Cincinnati Bearcats. They're giving up 5.5. They're at home. They came through for me last week at UCF. I like Cincinnati as my other best bet. And my upset of the week, I talked about it in the open, but I think LSU went through just a grueling experience to overcome Ole Miss last week in overtime. Now they go right onto the road to godforsaken Fayetteville. I've been to Fayetteville. You have to take a covered wagon the last 100 miles to get there. I can't imagine LSU being sharp in this game. Arkansas had a week off. I think they're going to be all pumped up. Give me them Hogs.
There you go.
For my upset special.
There you go. Let's throw it to Legend, shall we?
Hey, it's best bet time, and we're riding with David Legend again, who nailed it last week. The key to winning and betting, find you a hot team and ride them till they go cold. And we go military this week. We're liking Navy minus 16.5 to Charlotte. We're liking Army minus 16 to East Carolina. He said Army, Navy, Boise State every week. Been racking up. They racked up last week. Rack them up again. My dog for the week. Woof, woof. I'm going with the Georgia Bulldogs. I ain't believed it, Texas. Michigan was garbage. Oklahoma was garbage. This your first real test. I like the Dogs as my dog.
This upset segment is driving me crazy. I now have 3 upset losers outright that ended up covering the spread, lost by 2 points or less on the year. When am I going to get lucky with one? Hopefully this week, Colorado taking on Arizona. Give me the Buffaloes. The only reason they opened an underdog as this game is because it looked like they had a cluster injury at receiver. Well, now Travis Hunter going to be back, Jimmy Horn going to be back. Those are the 2 biggest names. I don't think they should be an underdog at all. Next, the team that I did plan to use as my upset of the week, Kentucky going to Florida. They've since flipped from about a 2.5 point underdog to a 1 point favorite. That's not a big move. I still don't mind laying the 1 with Kentucky. I don't think DJ Lagway is quite ready to go against this defense yet. And finally, back to the Centennial State, Colorado State -7 at Air Force. Air Force usually a big home field advantage, not when the Rams are coming over from Fort Collins. Now let's see what Tony's got in store for us.
Last 2 weeks, I'm a little butthurt, man. I've gone 2-4 the last 2 weeks. I'm over it. I got to go with what I'm strong at, and I'm graded over-under. So I'm going to go with some overs.
Nice.
Alabama's gone over the last couple of weeks. Alabama, Tennessee, last 8 games, 67 points a game, consistently every. There wasn't like a 100-99 game to skew the numbers. Every game goes around 60 to 65 points. I'm taking the over 56. Alabama, the last 8 games, those 66 points. Tennessee's 1-16, and again, Alabama giving up 33 points a ball game their last 3 games. So I think maybe Tennessee could find their offense against Alabama's defense. Also. And I know a lot of people are looking at this over. I love taking overs in college football when they're in the 40s. I know Tech's got a great defense, but you're talking about 25-33 against an LSU squad, 21 against Kentucky at Kentucky. South Carolina, I think, could put up 10, 11 points against Texas. I think if they do that, it's flying
against
over
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma,
Yeah,
sorry. Over Oklahoma.
That's all right.
I mentioned Oklahoma because Oklahoma, of course, only scored 3 against Texas last week.
That was
It's because
ugly.
Texas is only giving up 6 points a ball game.
Yeah.
So I'm liking Oklahoma. You have a chance to score some points, do some things against South Carolina. I think Oklahoma and South Carolina fly over that 41. And that may be one where you can just scrap it at halftime and be done with it. My underdog, I'm 0 for 4 my last 4. I've tried to go big. I tried to go small. I'm going to go against Fresno State, take UNLV, who screwed me last week. I'll take the runner Rebs plus the 3 against Fresno State as my big dog. It's been a fantastic show. Week 8, we have Louisville and Miami. SEC play. You have to give the ACC a little.
Yeah, well, yeah, they own that. They own that league too.
Exactly.
So got to cut ABC, ESPN some slack. We got big SEC games on later today, though.
Yeah, we sure do. And Louisville's going to be, that's an interesting squad because a lot of people thought they were a top 25 squad. They're not catching points at home at 4-2. And of course, Miami undefeated.
Yeah, but they've been tinkering on the edge, Tony. They have dodged bullets like crazy. Is this the day that the reckoning comes?
Make sure you tune in to the starting lineup again next Saturday morning and every Saturday morning, 10:30, 11 o'clock, right before the big ball games here on ABC 3340. Have a blessed Saturday.
All right.